The art and science of spoon-feeding soybeans. That's today's subject. We're standing in a soybean field, obviously, and I've got Chad Henderson and Kevin Matthews. All right, some cool stuff that we're doing. We're better at than we were. We're trying new stuff. Chad, you put on fertility, time of planting, and then foliar, right?
That's right.
Okay, so tell us what you're experimenting with and how you think it becomes more of an art, because it's about timing, it's about getting that stuff at the right place, and obviously what you'd like to achieve.
Well, we've learned a lot. Temple, Kevin, Matt. I mean, all these guys has taught me a lot about soybeans for sure. And I still got a whole lot to go because we usually just either we'll put 2 ton of litter out, or we'll either have a fertility blend, that'll be some dry that we'll put out. And then we've never played a whole lot with in-furrow 2x2 on soybeans. And we got some in-furrow tests out this year. So we'll see what becomes of that. But I think Kevin does more in-furrow and 2x2 on the soybean side.
That's correct, yeah. So tell us your program, and then I want to talk about what you do once they're emerging.
That's right.
So, okay, at time of planting, you're now doing
dry and or litter, pre-plant, and then testing some in-furrow products.
Okay, and then your program is?
We're running a full in-furrow program. We're running biologicals. We're running different growth regulators, PGRs.
Yep.
In-furrow, we're running in our 2x2, we're running ortho triple option from this is orthophosphate product from Nature's. We run that at about anywhere from 8+ gallons an acre, depending on what the yield goal is of that farm.
But you won't have any dry or litter.
That's what I say. So
we do use litter on some farms, but
that's right.
Okay, so Chad's got chicken litter and dry, and then experimenting and dabbling more into in-furrow at time of planting stuff. You're doing almost no dry and very little.
But all fertility has been
around that plant. We just ain't got the money to throw it out there like Chad does. So we have to really place it right there and be tight.
That's right. And I really ain't got time like him, to spend filling planters up all day long. I need to plant the dang crop.
I think
so we can keep talking.
We just heard in a previous video that even the seed companies come around and insult Chad for his crappy soil. So I don't know, man. Poor Chad. He gets picked on by everybody but me. Okay, so then going over the top. These soybeans, obviously, the ones we're standing here are amazing, and we're getting really big yields, compared to, a while ago. There's a whole bunch of pods on there. What's your fertility program then after emergence?
Well, that's the part that I'm really learning right now. When do we push these beans? Is it like corn? I mean, where we're pushing it real early. Where does the early push go? Where does the middle push go? And where does the end push go? Because there's 3 different times, that you can really, I guess, affect and what we need to push on a bean.
And isn't there a danger in pushing them too early? Because then you get a bunch of vegetative growth, and the soybeans are our height, and then they fall down, and then
exactly right. And that's some of the pros and cons of our litter deal, with the nitrate. So I mean, it's a give and take on both sides, and we're still learning that. But we're learning what we can do to mash these beans early. Like you've heard people talk about a herbicide mash or a fertility mash. We're learning how to mash them early. We're learning when to do that, how to do it, when to lay up, when not to. And then in the middle of the plant, in the middle of the time frame, then this is all our money stalks. It's like a cotton plant, like your money bowl's on the bottom. But this is where your money's at in the middle of the plant.
Okay, so here's what I'm wondering. So the fertility that gets you this, does that happen when they're at like, you guys always talk about vegetative 3, 5, whatever. Where do you get this?
Well, that's more. So this area right here is what I call the standard area focus. That's what we've been taught. This R2, R3. We really need to be looking at that. These are indeterminate plants. So where we start picking extra yield up is when we count main stem fruiting nodes.
Okay.
So we're wanting each one of these nodes, we want fruit.
If you're listening, not watching, he's pointing to an area about 3 inches off the base root, right?
Yep, right here. Okay. We want to pot it all the way to the ground. You'll hear that term.
Yes.
Well, that's a good thing. If the combine can't get them all, you've done all you can do. That's okay. That ain't big.
So if there's some soybeans that are still out there on the ground,
now you're going to be taking care of that at just prior to R1.
Yep.
Because that plant hadn't started setting these blooms. You want to save them blooms, make pods, and then once you get the pods, you don't want them to abort. So you want to keep them. So then the tail end, this is the last area of the plant to mature. And
that's the top, by the way, if you're listening and not watching. The very top.
And all of us have seen we get a late fall rain, a late summer rain, and we get regrowth in the top of the plant, and we can pick up 20, 30 bushels from rain. Well, if we can do it from rain, why not get the fertility nutrients in here it needs and build that factory?
Okay, so the question there is, if we didn't get the rain, would the fertility later in the season give you that top foot that you're talking about?
No. And that's
So it's rain specific.
so that's when we're talking about you're gonna have an early cycle, a mid cycle, and a late cycle. And then late cycle when we're spraying for pests, don't forget the fertility on that side, because then we're judging what the bean size is, because we can't make any more beans. We got to make these bigger. The yield is not in the number of beans. I ain't gonna say it ain't, but there's as much yield in seed size as it is the number of beans.
Seed size.
Seed size.
By the way, when we're talking about the art and the science, then if it doesn't rain and you still think you got to go out with a late fungicide treatment, you're not going to put the foliar fertility in it because you don't think it's worth the money because you ain't going to get that last top foot.
Well, if it ain't raining,
Yeah, but
fungicide out. I mean, you got to pump the brakes, man.
Yeah.
Okay, if you ain't gonna make no money, don't spend it.
Okay, so it's the art and science of spoon feeding fertility. First is time of planting for him. For you, it's dry and litter. And then first pass where you get a fertility product is about
herbicide. Your herbicide window, don't forget it then.
Okay.
And then your R3, most everybody's going to make an R3 fungicide pass, okay? And we still have a pretty good plant. We got a lot of flowers on it,
Yep.
and we got a lot of fruit on it. So we're kind of pushed in right there. Well, then the later ones, if you have to make that R5 pass for stink bugs or something of that nature, that's when you're gauging fertility, whether or not you have the rainfall or not.
And so you do the same thing. You'd put
Not exactly. I'm gonna go my post.
Yep.
Then I'm gonna do a R1, R2, depending on how fast I can get the sprayer to the field. And I'm gonna wait to about R4 to R5 and do my next, and because the soil's gonna take care of that center section.
Okay.
Right.
So
But it's the extra load of plants because
you might be doing 3 foliar treatments in terms of the spoon feeding.
Yeah, we're going to do 2.
but we're going to combine them.
Yeah, we're going to do 2, and then we're might do a third one.
Got it. There you are. You got the method on how they do it. I'm not going to recap it because you can go and rewatch this if you want to, but I think it's pretty cool. Art and science of spoon feeding soybeans for maximum yields. Chad Henderson, Kevin Matthews. I'm Damian Mason. Share this with somebody who can benefit from it. Till next time, check out more stuff at extremeag.farm.